think it takes courage to be presented, 4 different potential brand identities in a first client presentation, and to take the one that's the most crazy, the most sort of out there, the most different, and to be like, okay, this is the one we got to go.
How do you go about taking the experience you've had at somewhere like Glaceau and then Coca-Cola, and how do you infuse that into a new brand that doesn't necessarily have access to millions of dollars and is sort of starting out in a
Yeah.
category that's now much fuller, much more packed with great sort of competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it comes down to sort of ambition again to the beginning. Like, we wanted to build a great American soda company. Like, talk about sort of setting the bar high. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about sort of a beloved product, something that is iconic in America, or sort of fundamental to the core, as fundamental as apple pie and baseball and soda, and like, you know what I mean. And so trying to go into that category is sort of ambitious. The name of the brand is United Sodas of America. That is a ambitious sort of starting place to be to build upon. And then ultimately, we spent so much of our early time in terms of strategy, brand strategy, thinking about sort of America, the moment we were in, which was we were building that brand in like 2018. And so we're talking about sort of like, prime division in our country, really, truly. And, this idea that like America's never been more divided. And yet there is this universal sort of appeal to America that like there is something special that we can agree on, which is, that we are great. And what makes us great is sort of like some of the variety and the differences between us, and sort of the idea that like, America could be represented by sort of its rainbow of people, and not sort of represented by its sort of red and blue. What if we were a brand that sort of celebrated the idea that like we're all different, we're all not the same, and that sort of idea that like Coca-Cola as a sort of classic Americana brand, and Pepsi as this sort of also a classic brand, but like these brands are just so large that they're never absolutely going to be able to sort of represent the sort of new consumer, and sort of like a new a younger generation. As much as they try, and as much as they may get Cardi B to be in the commercials, like they or Kendall Jenner sort of giving out a Pepsi at a sort of at a protest rally, like they just don't really necessarily represent people and culture. And so the idea was to take America, which is divided, try to take soda, which is polarized, because people, in many ways, like I said, it's a great American pastime. Everyone loves soda. It's delicious. Nothing's better on a hot summer day. But also, it's sort of enemy number one, in terms of like soda, sugar, like we got no place for it in today's world. And then ultimately trying to create a brand that sort of was for this new young person, that maybe we wanted to rekindle the relationship between people and soda. And I think that was sort of our sort of like our sort of North Star. The question that we sort of like came to ourselves was like, what the brief was like, what if soda was invented in 2020? Like, what if we just had created the first soda? And so what would we want it to be? And, how could we take some of the learnings from classic cola in terms of flavor, in terms of like big brand appeal? How can we take some of the like modern brands like a LaCroix, or sort of sort of some of the spin drifts, like some of the health benefits, or some of the sort of low calorie sort of positioning, and then ultimately build a better product, and build a brand that really was representative of the world and sort of how people consume products. And ultimately that came to this beautiful sort of minimalist sort of brand identity, and a package design that was designed to be sort of more for your home and for your life than it was designed to sort of stand out on a traditional retail shelf, where I think there's this, because there are so many products and so many beverages, as I described before, right? There's this need that everyone needs to scream and try to compete, and it's sort of like it's quite overwhelming. So the idea that like we're going to design a product that is for your home and is as much of an art piece I think it takes courage to be presented, 4 different potential brand identities in a first client presentation, and to take the one that's the most crazy, the most sort of out there, the most different, and to be like, okay, this is the one we got to go. Because having gone through 3 years of client presentations, I find that more clients go for the safe. They go for the safety, and and that's just, by nature of who we are. I think it's like risk taking is challenging, and there's so much money being invested in both the branding and product and business, and I think people are often scared to take a giant swing and miss. But United Sodas of America is a great example. It's like it made me uncomfortable for how simple and minimal and different it felt and was, and ultimately that's what makes it beloved. And I think that's what's giving it the sort of traction that it's had in the early days, and it sort of like has that feeling that people, they got to get their hands on it, they want to pick it up, they want to order it, they want to experience it. Like those, that's the reward. And it's like if you go for big, you go for what Brian Collins would say, maximum fucking love. It's like that's how you break through it, because there's so many things that in the world right now trying to fight for your attention. And so if you play it safe and you go the easy route, or you don't try to do something ambitious and bombastic and uncomfortable, then sometimes it falls on deaf ears.
I think there's two people that play in this. I think designers need to be comfortable and strong enough to present those kind of ideas and to sort of fight for them, because I think that's part of the challenge. And I think clients need to realize that if they do want to differentiate themselves meaningfully and stand out and actually get people to care, they need to be bold enough to actually make a choice that probably feels a bit scary. Because if it doesn't feel scary, it's going to blend in.
The product is one side of it. That's the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs or people make, where they just assume that because they're so invested in it personally that they are they love what they've made so much that they don't realize that like you're still fighting for the attention of people that are incredibly sort of distracted. And so if you're not polarizing or making people uncomfortable or standing out from sort of the crowd, it's like you're almost dead on arrival in many ways. We have to find a reason to make people fall in love. We have to find a reason to make them care. And like ultimately, if you can get that to people, like then you unlock the magic sort of juice and the billion-dollar valuation.
It's also quite liberating, for newer companies or smaller companies, that they can take these risks, because I think it's one of the only ways you can compete against the giants. It's the only way you can stand out against them, is you can take that opportunity, you can step into a space that they just couldn't take the risk for, and ultimately it could pay off for you. So I think it is a very sort of powerful message to people.
When we're playing in the world that we're playing in, which is new business and startups and introducing ideas to people for the first time, in a lot of cases, like you gotta go for it. And I think United Sodas of America is a great case study for our studio, where it's like we developed it, we built the brand platform that was really strong. It inspired really great design. We cared about every detail, to the texture of the can, to the web experience, to the copywriting for every single flavor and everything. Like, and it's like I said, it's bombastic and it's bold and it's working. And so as a studio, it's nice to have one of those in your back pocket. And a lot of companies are now coming to us because they've seen our work for United Sodas. And so now you say, hey, United Sodas, they made it super uncomfortable. Like we were super scared. Like, we presented them much safer options, and like, but ultimately what's making it great is the fact that it is different.
Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.